back. Yeah, it's still a lockdown. I don't know when they will announce when they will prolong the lockdown. I guess, it's going to be tomorrow that they'll probably prolong it another 2 weeks or so. They said now, because I think people turn into poodles because there are no hairstylists, so people can't go get a haircut, and I think this is like something that they are thinking about because people might get grumpy if they can't do that and don't take care of that. But other than that, who knows? I mean, people talk about Easter, that it will take until then that they start opening things up. And we're talking about schools, to start opening schools again, but only for a few hours a day. So we'll take time. But now, since we are still in a lockdown and we have some time, at least some of us have more time than we had before, if we feel that the old system wasn't really working anyway, and if we feel that most likely we will not go back to the old system, so maybe this is the time to dream up a new system. Because whenever you want to change something, you always need to have a vision where you want to be. And you might not reach that vision, but it's a direction to go to. And we don't have this at the moment. It feels like it's kind of without a direction. I mean, the only direction is to get vaccinated and go back to normal. But then we still have the old problems. So why don't we dream up a new system? I mean, how could it look like? How could it be? For me personally, I can envision a system where the highest goal is people, living beings, animals, and nature, to protect those. I mean, imagine what kind of world that would be. So instead of having the goal of making as much money as possible, everything would be geared to protecting the environment, having happy people. I mean, who thinks about stuff like that? Nobody does, I mean, why can't it be a goal to have happy people living in this country, in this world? Why can't it be the goal to have, if we still decide to eat animals, to really make sure, and we know what they need, we don't care about what they need, we only care about profit. Maybe if the whole focus would be on giving these animals a great life. I once saw this documentary about pigs in Spain, and they roam free and they eat these chestnuts. And then eventually, after doing this for a couple of years, and they're completely free, they have the best life, they get slaughtered. So I do understand that. They had a great life, and maybe even if we do it with some sort of thankfulness towards them, that they've given their lives to sustain ours, even though obviously, I haven't eaten any meat in like more than 20 years. How long has it been? I forgot. Anyway, so I'm still alive, so we don't really need that. But I mean, that would be a completely different focus. It would be to protect and help and to make sure that they have a good life. And then the same thing with other animals, just like to have this as a main focus, and also have the environment as a main focus. I mean, the main focus is to protect the environment, and everything else comes second. And to protect the people, to protect the animals, everything else comes second. And I'm pretty sure we could afford this. I mean, if the wealth would be distributed in a different way, if we wouldn't have these super rich people that have so much money and everybody has so little, if we would find a system where, this would be more evened out, because it's insane. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, what do you do with more than $10 million or 10 million euros? I mean, what do you do with that? You can't even spend it. It's just for your ego, to feel powerful. So maybe that's a good way to use this time. Why don't we all dream our dream of how we would want this world to be? And then we get together and talk about it. Because what else is there to do? To go back to a system that was highly abusive to almost anybody? Besides when you're rich? Does it make sense? I mean, the world of the mind, the world of the ego. I mean, the biggest ego wins, the one who's on top. And nobody wins either, because if you meet these people, and I met a few of them, they're unhappy too. They're afraid too. There's no peace there. There's even more fear, because if you have that amount of money, you don't want to lose it. So why don't we dream our dreams now? I mean, this is a good moment to do that, because even if we could go back, should we? And I don't know how you feel, but I feel in a way it really has passed. I mean, that's not what is reality anymore. It's gone. It's bye-bye. It left a while ago. It's not gonna work anymore. So since we probably can't go back, and even if we could, we probably shouldn't, because then we keep on raping this planet until, well, there's nothing left to rape anymore. In 1963, Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech. And maybe it's time for our individual dreams. And be it how we envision our life after this, but also how we envision the world after this. And maybe after we have our individual dreams, we can get together and create maybe a dream for humanity, if we can agree on a few points. But maybe it's time for that, because we need a direction, and we definitely need a new direction. And what better time than now? Since the old world is not what it was before. It kind of disappeared. And the new world isn't created yet. So this is the time. Now or never. So think about it. And if you have any ideas, please leave a comment below. I'm really interested in what you think this new world could look like, or what you would want this new world to be. But let's dream our dream, because it seems like there's no direction right now. Everybody's sitting there and waiting for something to happen. And the only thing that people seem to wait for is to get vaccinated and then go back to what we had before. But even for the high-risk groups, and high risk is very often a lifestyle that is probably not so good for you, except of course just getting old, there's nothing you can do about that. But you don't have to be in one of those risk groups. But people don't think doing something about this risk group, all they think about it, at least that's how I see it, is to get vaccinated and smoke their cigarette again. So it's time for direction. I don't think it's helpful to sit here and not have an idea how to continue, because somebody will dream up a new world, but maybe we're not so happy about this new world because it's not our dream. So there are two ways, that's how I see it. Either we decide to dream up how we want this world to be now and then get to work, or somebody else will dream up a world, and it's not going to be a pretty one. I think it's definitely going to be a world that is worse than we had before. At the same time, I'm convinced that we dream up the world that we want, it's going to be a better world than the world we had before. So it's up to us now, you know. Maybe one day somebody will ask us, why didn't you come up with something better? Why did you just sit there and wait? Wait for what's gonna happen? Because somebody's gonna come up with something, we probably have to accept that version then, because we don't have our own idea, we don't have dreamt up our own new reality, our own new world. So I think it's a crucial moment at the moment, and I don't think we should wait any longer. Because there are two ways. We live our dream, or we live somebody else's dream. I much rather would prefer my dream. I much rather would prefer our dream. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Namaste.